Wow. Hey, wow. That's all I got. Wow. I can't wow. I'm surprised. I mean, it's like when you think something's going to happen or at least something's going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen, but then something happens, you're like, "Oh, I knew something was going to happen, but I just wasn't sure that they were going to do it." You know what I mean? Like it needed to be done. Did it? Yeah, maybe. We're going to talk about it because that's the thing. Like the New York Knicks have decided to part ways with Coach Tom Thibodeau after 5 seasons. It's been a hell of a ride. You know, as Knick fans, we may be upset at times. We may get on him at times about his coaching style and some of his rigidness and his lack of flexibility. But, you know, we also got to keep it real. He's been the best coach we've had um in a very, 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 very long time. For some people, he's the best coach. As you know, young Knicks fans, he's the best coach they've ever seen for the Knicks because we've had some really bad coaches in the last 25 years. Um, so yeah, shout out to Coach Tibbs for doing what we all give him credit for coming here and changing the culture, giving us an identity, taking us from a place where we were a turnstile of coaches, we were a turnstile of players, and really just were like chugging along. You know what I mean? We were just like, oh, see you next year. It was this Nick team was just it was a laughing stock at one point and no shade to the young players that we might have had during that time, but you guys know the talent base wasn't promising in comparison to other NBA teams. At sometimes I remember being a Knick fan and having to listen to people talk to me about our team playing. It's like, oh, that's like a real NBA team against a JV team out there. You know, who wants to hear that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Times were kind of crazy over the years. So yeah, definitely we've come a long way since then. He gave us stability. You know, he gave us, like I said, an identity. He also believed in players and forced those players to believe in themselves. One thing that you, excuse me, cannot say is if you had talent and you came here to play for Tom Thibodeau, he used you, you got better. And that's just what it was. I mean, that's the type of coach he was. I mean, he knew how to maximize the talent of star players. You know, that was always my knock on him. Not I knew he could get the best out of star players. It was the younger, more unproven players that I was always like, can he get the best out of them? And that was always the question that we, so far haven't really been able to answer with Tom Thibodeau. But I definitely respect him. I respect his pedigree, and all the winning that he brought to his New York Knicks organization. I mean, he is going to go down as one of the best coaches in history. He is a I'm assuming, yeah, it's probably without question. He's probably a Hall of Fame coach, even without winning a championship as a head coach. He probably still, gets the nod, just because of the winning that he's done in the regular season. He's definitely helped his winning playoff percentage. It really wasn't that good, but he's helped it. So, you know, there's that. That's how I think I would like to look at Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? With the New York Knicks, Tom Thibodeau won 226 uh, games in the regular season and lost 174. That's a 56.5 winning percentage. I mean, or 0.56 winning percentage, if you want to say it like that. Um, that's damn good. I mean, it's above average. It's nothing to sneeze over. And he with this playoff run that he had this year, he was able to go positive for his playoff history. He's now 24-23 in the playoffs with the New York Knicks. So he got to a little over 50%. So good for him, man. You know, uh, coaching wise, like, he definitely has uh, done a lot. So, and we're gonna we're gonna hold him close to our hearts. That's all I want to say. Because he deserved that. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to understand. Building Block said Hall of Fame. I'm not sure about that. No conference finals. I mean, it depends on how they judge it. I don't know how they judge it for coaches, to be honest. And remember, like there was a time where a lot of coaches get a lot of tenure in the league. Like they've been coaching for a long time with their teams. It's changed a lot over the years, but back in the day, coaches used to stay. Like Popovich was there, Spoelstra was there. Like guys stick around. So maybe there's not as many coaches with this type of achievements to look at. So he might be very high up the ladder as far as achievements compared to some other coaches. I mean, he was in the league 13 years. He won 578 games and lost 420. That's a 57 9, so 58% winning record. It's not bad, So who knows? Who knows? But I hear you though. Anyway, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm kind of surprised that they did it, but I'm not surprised that the organization made the call, because I do think after everything we've seen this year, I think this was an eye-opening year for Tom Thibodeau. And if you put everything together in a box, that gives you enough ammunition to part ways with him and move in a different direction. Shout out to Crim's dad in the building. He said, let's go. I know Crim's is happy. Crim's dad is happy. Josh Smooth says, I've been saying fire Tibbs forever. Bye Tibbs. Big one says. Craig says, Ron, and thank you. Salute. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, man. Listen. I hear you. I hear you, man. Shout out to and shout out to Big One once again. Appreciate you, my guy. Good to see you. Shout out to Kareem Grant in the building. Appreciate you. Craig is here. Salute, Craig. Let me see. Interesting. Smarter than your averages in the building. What's going on, my brother? He said Brunson gonna be a player coach. You think he on the team by himself? Tibbs don't blow the game. Brunson did. Brunson had something to do with it, but it wasn't just him. I'll talk more about that stuff on Saturday, but we'll move around. Shout out to Fritz Alcindor in the building. Guys, if you haven't checked out Fritz's NBA economy show, please check it out. He had a new one earlier today, which was really good. So you should check it out. Just YouTube the NBA economy show, and you'll find his show, and you won't be disappointed. He talks a little bit about everything in the NBA, but specifically today, he talked about this Knicks situation, and he's got some different, ideas and thoughts in regards to what they can do. And so you should definitely check it out. Fly God the third, aka C_Mac is in the building. What up, Fly God? And shout out to Curtis Young in the building. Salute to all you guys. So here's the thing, right? So where to begin? Where to begin? Okay, let's start off with this. Let's talk about what we know or what we can remember. We obviously know how this offseason went for the New York Knicks. We brought in Mikal Bridges. We lost Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle in the cat trade. And then we put these guys together. We brought in, guys like Cam Payne and Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright. And then obviously we went out and we drafted, rookies. Kevin McCullough Jr., Pacom Dadier, Tyler Kolek, Ariel Hukporti. Added another couple pieces, PJ Tucker. And that was our team. Obviously including the usuals, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson. So this year started off with, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not going to go through every single thing, but it started off with the Knicks and a high octane offense, right? First couple games, they were feeling, each other out, understanding where people go, still, getting a feel. But then something clicked, and all of a sudden, the Knicks were high flying, hitting threes. They had one of the best 3-point percentage. They were around 42% for a while from three. They had the number one offense for a little bit. I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks. It wasn't that long, maybe 2-3 weeks, something like that. And then they kind of settled in around second or third. I think they settled in around third best offense, right? Cleveland made a run. They made a jump, and they went to number 2, and Boston was the number 1 spot as far as offenses, and the Knicks were number 3 for a long time, most of the season. But, after those first 2 months of the Knicks high-flying offense, I don't want to say high-flying like they were dunking, faster offense than we're used to, a lot of three-point shooting, a lot of big scoring. Let's call it that, right? Tom Thibodeau noticed, hey, we are putting up a lot of points, and then, we went into a lull. Now, all of a sudden, we can't hit the three. So how do we score if we're not hitting the three? And guys were struggling. Guys started going into huge slumps. Mikal went into a slump. Then OG went into a horrific slump. And it just wasn't enough. Guys couldn't hit the three. So then the Knicks had to learn how to score inside, right? We started moving the ball and scoring in the paint, but our defense got all crazy. It got suspect. We weren't really stopping people. So after another month of that, and then, figuring things out, what happened? OG Anunoby got his shot back together. And once OG got his shot back together, the Knicks were able to start taking off again. Then he started being, going inside. He was dunking. It was going crazy. And he started knocking down threes from outside. Like OG was on one. So you put that along with the fact that Brunson was doing his thing. Cat was doing his thing. You had Mikal here and there. They had enough to really make some noise, and they were doing some good stuff. But the defense still wasn't quite there. For whatever reason, it still wasn't quite there. Tom Thibodeau was very rigid in his rotations, but he was playing around 8 guys, sometimes 9 here and there. And then, I guess he started to realize that no matter what he did, the defense just wasn't quite where he needed to be. Then we got Mitchell Robinson back. And then Mitchell Robinson was finding his way back, but he wasn't quite right. Like we were hoping, some people were hoping he was going to be the savior of the defense. Once he's out there, everybody will be able to do what they want to do. But he just wasn't quite right yet. It took him a little while to get going. But while that was happening, Thibodeau simplified the offense, and we went back to what we knew and got real caught up in that isocentric basketball that Jalen Brunson is a big part of. Cat can be a little bit of it too, and then even OG's a part of the isocentric game, but really it's Jalen Brunson. We got back into the dribble, as my guy Big Freezy would say. And that's kind of where we stood, right? We took that and ran with it into the playoffs. We started to get a little better at understanding how to play inside more, and it was inside out basketball. We were scoring more in the paint. Guys like OG were locked in. Mikal was still up and down. Brunson was doing his thing. Cat was doing what Cat does. And we, rode that wave into the playoffs. And, our defense was still kind of iffy though, guys. If you guys think about it, our defense really didn't pick up until we got into the playoffs, until we started playing Detroit. Once we started playing Detroit, that's when we started to see, this is kind of the defense that I remember from the Tibbs days. Detroit helped bring that out. But, throughout this whole season, what we did notice is in the middle of the season, Thibodeau started to go away from the young players, right? Go away from the bench guys and really focus on just a set lineup, and I understand it because he was trying to really prepare those guys for the playoffs, right? This is my rotation. This is my starters. Let me get my bench together and get them the reps they need, because when it comes playoff time, they're going to be pivotal. We're going to need them. I didn't have a problem with that. Of course, I wanted to see Kolek and other guys out there, but I understood at some point you got to get your team ready for the playoffs. Cool. So I'm like, yeah, you lock in, the campaigns, the Shamits, the Deuces, the maybe Huck Porty, maybe, but Precious Achua. I'm cool with all that. Then we get into the playoffs, and he decides that he doesn't want to play the Shamits, the DeLon Wrights, the Precious Achuas. Even though Precious Achua had some good numbers and played pretty well against Detroit, he didn't want to really use them. Also, let's not forget the elephant in the room. All season, we know it was minutes police stuff. It was talked about how he was playing guys high 30 minutes, 40 plus minutes, all that stuff. Mikal Bridges came out and said that maybe we're playing a little bit too much and the starters should give some room to some of the bench guys because they deserve some minutes. So all that stuff happened throughout the year. And in the playoffs, like I said, he went away from, we knew he was going to shorten the rotation. That's fine. But he really went away from the bench and just said, hey, I'm going to have to win with these guys. And like the bench can't help us. So we really didn't use the bench, even though some of us were calling for at least the option to use Shamit here and there, or definitely try to use Precious, especially against a team he did good against. All right. Somehow we got out of the Detroit series because we were a better team than them and we have more talent. That shouldn't really be a question. Then we go face Boston, the team that this team was built to beat. And we are incredibly successful against Boston because we win game 1 and we win game 2. All right. And we lose game 3. We win game 4 and we lose game 5. And then we win the series in game 6. But so here's the question there. Throughout this whole series, once again, he chose not to really use Landry Shamit or DeLon Wright. He might have given them 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, just to whatever, put him in a certain game just to spell somebody who was in foul trouble or something. But he chose not to really use them. All right. But we won that series. So, like I say with Tibbs, if it ain't broke, you got to work with it. So it worked out. But then we face the Indiana Pacers. And this is understandable. Like, okay, you did something. It worked versus Detroit. Now we're going up against Boston. Different style, but they are one-dimensional. So you have a plan. You think this can work against them. It winds up working. Fine. Then you go into Indiana, and Indiana is an up and down, fast-paced team that also bombs the ways with the threes, but they'll go inside if they need to. They're a very complete offensive team. And they like to tire teams out. They like to run them into the ground. You don't think that I need to rely on my bench and get these guys time? They should have been playing from game 1. Maybe not a whole bunch of minutes, but they should have been playing from game 1. Maybe if somebody else said this, I don't want to take the credit, but I don't even remember who said it. I just know I'll be hearing things. Somebody said maybe if they were playing from game 1, the Knicks never would have lost that 14-point lead. That could be true. So, that's a big problem. And let's not forget the other thing too. The Knicks came back from 3 deficits of 20 points to win games, right? But is it a good thing to keep going down 20 points? Like, how many times did we go down big margins in this series? We came back 3 times, but we also lost. So is that a good sign that our team keeps getting going, in these situations where we're getting, cooked by 20 or more? That's a problem too. So I wonder, like, some people are still questioning now, was this the right move? Is Tibbs to blame for different things? Well, in the Indiana series really exposed a lot. Like, it exposed the fact that, one, our defense is not as good as we like to think our defense is. And Tibbs, the guru, who usually knows how to make a plan to stop any team, really could not stop Indiana. How many times did you guys hear me say throughout this series that the Knicks played well enough to win, but they didn't stop Indiana? Indiana still shot 50% from the field, 41% from three. Like, how many times have we said that? For whatever reason, no matter what Tibbs drew up, he couldn't really stop them. Now, when he started using the bench guys, DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet, those guys were able to stop. That defensive team was able to stop Indiana from doing what they wanted to do out there. But that's the bench unit. Like, you can't rely on that. So how do you get that same type of production, or at least better production, coming from your starters? That was the problem with this series. The Knicks could not keep up with Indiana. That pace was too much. And the starters could not stop Indiana. They just didn't have enough defense to stop Indiana. And offensively, we didn't have a good enough offensive system on our end to put up enough points to beat them in a different way. I think that's enough to fire the coach, let alone the fact that when we played the good teams throughout the year, you know what our record was. You know, we won maybe one game or none. Maybe, I don't know. Did we win any of them? I don't know if we won any of the games. I can't remember now, against the good teams. But you know what? It was really bad. The record was terrible. And we didn't just lose. We got smoked in a lot of those games, if not all of them. That's bad. That's not a good look. So I think Tibbs gave the front office a lot to work with. You know, they looked at his laundry list of his career accolades, the coach of the year, all that stuff. But this is a what have you done for me lately league. And then they looked at this year and said, okay, well, all right. Oh, yeah. Maybe that was enough. I don't know, guys. Shout out to SASS guy, SAS guy. It's a blessing to my heart that Tibbs is gone. Shout out to Dish Dash in the building. Salute chat. Tibbs reached his ceiling. Maybe. I mean, we all joke about it. It's like the ongoing thing. Tibbs is the type of coach that can get you to a certain point. Now you need another coach to get you the rest of the way. I know. We all talk about that. But as I said, what I said this year was I needed to see it play out. So I was under the impression that the Knicks would fire Tibbs under extreme situations. I didn't know they'd fire Tibbs under situations where they thought it was just time for a change to move on because of certain things they saw. You know, I thought maybe a sweep, losing to Detroit, or a sweep by Boston might do it. I didn't realize that even making the Eastern Conference Finals and making it to Game 6, that the Knicks would still be able to look at Tibbs and say, you know what? This is not the direction we want to continue to go, and we want to change it up. I didn't think the Knicks had enough chutzpah, right? That's the word, chutzpah, or Leon Rose and the crew. I mean, listen, let me tell you something now, guys. Jalen Brunson and Leon Rose knew Tibbs was getting fired, okay? The writing was on the wall somehow, somewhere after this series was over. The conversation was had. Now, Jalen Brunson defended Tibbs and said, he's our coach, and that's my guy. But what do you expect them to say? Because remember, Tom Thibodeau is not just Jalen Brunson's coach. They have a really good relationship. They have like a friendship. What do you expect them to say? He's going to be there in his corner for his guy. Leon Rose did the same thing. He put a statement out behind Coach Thibodeau, whatever, wonderful year, you know, whatever the hell they say, coach speak, front office speak. But what did he leave there? He left the caveat. James Dolan, it's still up to James Dolan to make the final decision. I don't like to read in between the lines too much, but I kind of was like, I saw that and I was like, that's kind of interesting, because my mind was like, he could just have left that out. He didn't have to say that at all. He could have just said his praise and left it at that. But he did. He threw that little blurb out there, which to me basically says Jalen Brunson knows Coach Tibbs is getting fired. Leon Rose knows that the rest of his executive staff and all the other people came up with a plan. And they said, you know what? It might be times for Tibbs to move on. And so he said, that's my guy. He's got to go. He's got to go. But I want to make sure he goes out on the right way. And I'm going to show him my love and my grace. He gave me an opportunity, whatever. or they gave each other opportunities because by the way this whole thing shook out, I'm going to show him the love. But Leon knew. Leon might have been the one to say he needs to go, but I'm not going to be the one to say it. Dolan's going to have to fire him because Tibbs is my guy. So that's my thought, but whatever. Shout out to David Smith in the building. Says salute to Ron in the chat. What a great day. Tibbs has been fired. A big reason Knicks underperformed this season was because of Tibbs. Okay. He definitely had something to do with it. D. Grant in the building says, Ron, no matter what, you have to play the bench because a team like the Pacers who like to run will wear down the starters, and that is what happened. Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Jay Chosen in the building. Said 100%. My bad. You doing phones? Yeah. Let me see what I can do. Dripmore is in the building. Yo, Ron, what's good? What up, Dripmore? Appreciate you. That's a good point. Building Block says Indy has been better than New York since January 1st. Us losing to them wasn't an upset. I agree with that. Indy's the better team than us. I didn't say Indy has the better players. I said they're the better team. We have better NBA talent. They've got a better team infrastructure and style of play. And, obviously that won out in the end. Let me see. Okay. What's the benefit of keeping Tibbs around? Tibbs fired himself. He ignored the calls from management for him to make adjustments and play the young talents, and that the organization spent millions on. I mean, I guess. Look, I'm not gonna. Well, like I said, I'm not gonna go too crazy with him not playing the youth this year. This is the first year for a lot of these guys. They need to learn how to play basketball. I know you might feel like, well, how are they going to learn if they don't play? I think the Knicks had enough guys that they could play them without the young dudes. You know what I mean? Like he had 9 or 10 that he could play without even worrying about McCullough and Huckporty and freaking Dottier and Kolick and all that. So that's my issue. He didn't play the 10 he could have played. You know what I mean? That's where I have a problem. It's okay. I understand these guys may not be ready. You want them to learn on the fly like you've been teaching in your way of development. Okay. But you need to play the other guys who are veterans who have played in the NBA, who we need out there to give guys a rest. And when we go up against the Indiana team, we're a little fresher. That's the problem I had. So shout out to Freeman48. He said, what's up, y'all? Good to see you. Shout out to Prezi the boss. What's going on, Prezi? L, damn it, is in the building. What up, L? Pew, 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 pew. Yes. I know Mets 2128 is happy. Look at him. Hey, the 10 man, as you like to call him, is finally gone. Mets. King KO, I told y'all. Yeah, okay, King KO. All right. I mean, and King KO is Indiana fame, so that's his squizzy over there. All right, you got you. Listen, it is what it is, bro. Oh, okay. Thanks. That was the record. So the Knicks were 0-10 against the GOAT teams. Yeah, that's terrible. Granted, it's regular season, and I believe that we are a much better team once we got to the playoffs. But really, were we as good as we should have been? Maybe not. Would we have gotten better under Tibbs next year is the question. And I think that is where the issue lies with the front office. I think that's what they're thinking about. Can this team, as it's currently constituted with Tom Thibodeau, be better next year? And I think the answer is no. I mean, I think that there would be some improvement, right? Just from, learning from what happened this year. But would be a better team? Whereas if we played all these teams again, would it be the same results? Would we be able to take care of Indiana next year with the same roster? just another year under our belt? No, I don't think so. You got to make changes. Yeah. Martin in the building said, "Good job, Tibbs." Yeah, he like I said, we got to credit him for what he did do, but it is what it is. Bradley Spalding said the problem is the Knicks conditioning. Well, firing the coach delays that. Players should be working on that right now before training. I don't know, Bradley. I don't think the Knicks had issues being conditioned. They played more minutes than any other NBA team in the NBA. Their starters played more minutes than some teams did on the whole. Like the whole team, if they ran 10 or 11 guys, our starters played more minutes than full squads. So I don't think it was conditioning. I think it's the fact that you can only ask so much of people don't play this many minutes every game and go up against different styles of play, especially against a team that runs the way Indiana does and expects to be playing at the highest level while dealing with that type of pace. The Knicks are a slow-paced team, second or last in the league every single season. That tells you something right there. We don't play fast in that regards of how we move, okay? Because, they have moments where they can get up and down and transition and stuff, but as a team, the movement, the way the game is played and the pace of the games that the Knicks create is slow. We're a half-court team. And we're slow. That dribble stuff that Brunson does, that Tibbs doesn't have a problem with, is a part of his style. It's slow. And that's how we got to the point where we got to. That's why our offense is so vanilla. I mean, everybody knows exactly how we play. They even know when we try to make an adjustment, what we're going to do. They know that if we blitz these guys, not only are we going to make them force the ball out their hands, we know where they're going to throw the ball because we've seen their tendencies. Predictable. Yeah. Ronald Clark is in the building. What up, Ronald? He said Mark Jackson was told to stay away from the Garden. A lot. Well, that's not false because I think Mark Jackson is a very outspoken person. But it doesn't change the fact that he's a very, in my opinion, a very smart man and knows how to coach. He hasn't gotten a coaching job since the whole Golden State Warriors thing. I don't know if it's because he's stubborn in the way he talks when he gets into these interviews, into these small rooms with these executives. Maybe he feels a certain way. He's entitled to a certain thing because he calls the game, for the NBA. And then he also has been a coach, and the Warriors had a bunch of success following his blueprint. So maybe he feels entitled to a certain level of respect, and other owners don't feel like he should get that. Maybe it has to do with different perks and different things that he feels he should get, being even though he's technically a non-experienced coach because he only coached, I think, 3 years. But maybe he feels like his knowledge, his wealth of knowledge, and all the games he played with that coaching experience should get him looked at in a different, manner. I don't know, but I do know that his religious beliefs and stuff is stuff that he does not mess around with, and that follows him wherever he goes. And maybe that's something he's upfront about when he goes to these interviews and to these organizations and tell them, look, this is who I am. This is how I like to coach. And this is also how I like to get through to my team. I like to, get through them on a personal one-on-one level. And this is how I do things. I don't know. What I do know is, oh, there we go. Sorry. I don't know how I flipped that by accident. What I do know is he should be a candidate. I think he should be a candidate. I think he's good. I think he knows how to coach a team. He hasn't proven to me he doesn't. So I mean, I just think he should get a shot. I'm not saying he's the guy. Shout out to Joey Rip 'em Up Sports. What's going on, Joey? Long Island Sound is in the building. Said, I've seen this movie from this franchise before. I hope we all enjoyed the run from Tibbs. I think that we have a much better front office than we've had ever in the past. Long Island. Well, I don't want to say that. I think at one point we had a competent front office, but I think we have a really good front office right now, and I think they do their due diligence, and I think we've got enough moving parts that there's some smart basketball minds in here somewhere. So I think they're going to make a good choice, and I think they've witnessed enough around the NBA to see the direction of these teams. And you got to think differently. This is a new NBA with a new style, and you have to adapt to that style. So we'll see. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my guy Dan in the building. Plus, he said, plus not playing Achua and Wright during the Pistons series hurt us. Yeah, I agree. Wolverines. What's going on, Dan? Wolverines 1986, awesome, totally awesome. The buffoon coach Tibbs, who took all of the joy out of watching Knicks basketball, has finally been fired. Bang USA Sports. Salute, still Knicks fans. It was a good run. Bye-bye, Rick Brunson. Does that cause friction with Jalen's extension? Everyone is expendable this offseason. New vision time. Who we get? Oh. Keyshawn's in the building. What up, Keyshawn? Good to see you. You said salute, Ron. He said the next coach better make it to the ECF. I hear that. Andre Jackson in the building said blaming the coach is crazy talk. No. It's not. It's not. Because if you watched the New York Knicks play basketball for this whole season and the playoffs, you know exactly why he should be on the hot seat. Is he the only reason? No, not at all. But you got to understand the other flip side to this is it's been 5 years of Tibbs, 5 years of this style. And as much as we want to be happy about the fact that we got to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, we can't forget the fact that we lost 10 games to top competition in blowouts, got smoked by these teams. We can't forget the fact that he decided to not play veteran NBA players that we paid money to off the bench that could have helped the team throughout the season, or were helping the team throughout the season, but he decided to condense his lineup and decided not to use them in the playoffs for whatever reason until he had to. That's the other thing. We got to stop giving, look, I understand. I'm not, I know he made the move, right? Stop giving somebody credit for something when they didn't want to do it only because they had to do it, right? Tibbs did not want to start Mitchell Robinson and use this too big lineup. Tibbs had to do something different and switch something up because he was looking for answers. Tibbs did not want to play Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright more minutes. He had to play DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet more minutes because guys were getting into foul trouble because trying to keep up with Indiana put them in compromising positions. And when they tried to be physical, instead of just being physical, they got into foul trouble because the refs were also calling everything tightly. So when he got into foul trouble with certain guys, Deuce, Brunson got into foul trouble, he had to go down the line. He said, I got to play this guy. I need minutes. And when they got out there, they were successful. And then eventually we won a game. And then he was like, man, now I got to use this guy again because whatever that was worked. So, don't get me wrong. I appreciate Coach Tibbs, and I said he's a really good coach, but I don't want to give the guy credit for something that he had no choice but to do. He would not have done it if he had a choice. And then he had to do it again because it worked. So why couldn't he have just done that from the beginning? Why couldn't he have said, I'm going to trust my team? Because all year, and especially the one thing that really gets you upset is that, or should I say two things? Right before the season ended, Detroit played the Knicks and Precious Achiuwa went off versus them. That's proof is in the pudding. That gives you an example. Hey, let me use him again against Detroit. He plays well against them. Why not? But he didn't do that, did he? Landry Shamet all season was struggling to find his shot. And we were like, what's going on with this guy? Maybe he's a bum, whatever. But then we realized, wait, Landry Shamet just needs to get the ball at certain spots and get reps. And as long as he gets the minutes and you feed him the ball, he gets the ball up in the air and starts to look at the shot going, he gets it. And then what happened? Shamet was cooking, right? By the end of the season, we were shooting 41% from three or 44%, some weird number like that. So what does he do? The playoffs start. He exiles Shamit. Now we don't need 3-point shooting. So as I said before, Tom Thibodeau did a lot of this stuff to himself and put his own self on the radar. The other thing too is, I don't care what you like about Tom Thibodeau and how good you feel he is as a coach. We all have to admit that when it comes to in-game strategy, in-game changes, you know what I mean? Adjustments. That's not his strong suit. He's not great at making in-game adjustments. Whereas somebody like Coach Carlisle, not only does he make, good in-game adjustments, but we see game to game, he makes great adjustments. That's the reason why he's an NBA champion coach. We got to look at that stuff, man. That is the reason why Tom Thibodeau put himself in that situation. Sucks to say it, but it's true. The defense was trash and a million turnovers. Yeah, that's the coach's fault. That's crazy. Yes, it is the coach's fault because the Knicks are not known for turning over the basketball the way they did until that series. The Knicks defense is Tom Thibodeau's staple. The fact that we don't play good defense, and we didn't play good defense until he put the bench guys in, the same bench guys that he refused to play in the other two series and didn't really want to play in the third series, that is Coach Thibodeau's fault, bro. That's the coach's fault. If you want to talk about how the turnovers happened on the court, right? And who was responsible for the turnovers, like Brunson and Hart, yes, that's their fault. But preparation, understanding, hey, we played these two teams. These two teams play this way. Detroit is up in your face, doesn't give you any room to breathe, slows down the game, makes the pace even slower than we like, and doesn't give us any room to get off shots without them in our face. That's their style of play. But they do things in a slower manner, right? We can deal with that because that's how the Knicks play, slow. Then we deal with Boston. Let me tell you something right now, guys. The only reason why we beat Boston is because Boston is one-dimensional. If Boston had played a better offensive game and instead of settling for so many threes, we would have lost to Boston. If Boston had played a better sound game and went inside, used the paint more, called better plays instead of settling for the three, we wouldn't have been able to come back from the 20-point deficit in game one or game two. I'm just saying, all you got to do is look at how the Knicks played in these series, and you can see that we were not perfect by any means. We have heart. We have star power. Our players can step up and do certain things, and we have some really good guys on the team. They carry us, but you can only carry a team for so long until you meet your match. And that's what we did. We met a team that plays total opposite of us, and we could not keep up with them. And that has to do with coaching and preparation, because it's not like we don't know how Indiana plays. We played them last year and they knocked us out. Granted, we were hurt. But even this year, we played them 4 times, right? I think we were 2-2. We know how Indiana plays. You got the book on Coach Carlisle. Your game plan was to come in and play 7 or 8 guys against a team that plays 10 and runs up and down the floor to get the opponent tired. That was your game plan. And you think that's not the coach's fault, bro? The coach has a lot to do with it. I didn't say he's everything, but he's got a lot to do with it. Anyway, Clavins Duras says Tibbs' old habits got him fired. He did not maximize the talents on the roster. That's a fact. That is a fact. 27 in the building said Tibbs sucks this postseason. I don't want to go that far. I think Tibbs did what he needed to do as far as coaching in the Boston series. I think the Boston series, he coached a really good series. Indiana series, he coached a really bad series. And in the Detroit series, he did okay. It was just a regular coaching job, some bad moves, some good moves. It wasn't nothing to write home about. It was just a regular series, and the Knicks wound up winning because we had more talent. But the Boston series, I think he did a really good job of coaching the guys and pushing the right buttons, because those buttons worked against Boston, who was so one-dimensional and limited. He was able to get away with what he planned. Whatever he thought would work, it did work against them. But when you play a team that has a lot more going on, and a coach, that will make adjustments, that's when you saw the difference. Shout out to Randu in the building. Says, salute, Ron. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. I hear that. Humberto De La Ho's in this house. I think Rick Brunson will be the next head coach. Negative, bro. Let me tell you something right now. The Knicks are not playing around. They are bringing in a coach who is going to change up the way the Knicks play. It ain't going to be no Rick Brunson. I hope it's not going to be anybody that resembles Tom Thibodeau either. But, who knows? I mean, they're going to pick whoever they like. So Brooklyn Buddha in the building said, if Brunson's gone, we're back to LOL Knicks. Yeah, I'm not worried about Brunson. I don't think I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, unless he chooses to want out later. But, if he gets upset with everything changing, if the Knicks decide to trade Josh Hart or something like that, I don't know. I don't know. SBL Bay in the building said, all facts. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Cara Maxine Kepe in the building. All right. Stream Elements says, I got a new subscriber. Appreciate you. Wiz BKLA says, Ron, it's time to dance and sing. Thank you, Tibbs, for what you have done for us, but it's time to say goodbye. Okay. All right. All right. Darth Zen, Ron, I felt Tibbs got the Knicks to a certain level. He had a 5-year plan to get the job done, to get to the next level. Another coach is needed. The past season, the window was open and we missed it. Well, that's true. This was a really good, even if we didn't think that the Knicks were really ready to win the championship this year, this was a really good moment for them to make it far. Like, I could definitely have seen us, if we made the right adjustments out the gate. Just winning game 1 would have changed this series, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Ron, man, the chosen one. I agree. How many 20-point deficits can a team come back from? Shout out to you, Jay. Ron, man. You're right. Ruben Nunez in the building says, something was off this year. Brunson looked unhappy all year. Him and Cat did not get along. I don't know if that is it. But I think there is certain things that have gone on with this team, and I don't think I think, I'll be honest, I'm not going to guess, guys. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, and I'm not close to anyone who can tell me. I do think that this kumbaya relationship wasn't as good as we think it was. And I don't mean between Brunson and Cat. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't know if I could say anything else, because I don't know it. But I just feel like, I do feel like the team chemistry was not the way we thought it was. But I think there's more at play here. I don't think it's Brunson and Cat. It could be Brunson and Cat at times, but I don't think it's just, Brunson and Cat. I think them not being able to do what they felt like they could do well really put a strain on their chemistry. The defense especially, like them not being able to lock down teams, or the miscommunication on the court and all the other stuff that kept happening really frustrated them. And I think it caused some problems, especially the fact, we heard about, they had multiple in-game meetings, team meetings. Like, what? In the playoffs? Like, who does that? What? A team meeting is something like you need to hold it tight, right? You pull a team meeting out when you're desperate, when things are like about to hit the fan. You're like, oh, we need a players only meeting, guys. This is going to bring us together. And we had multiple team meetings? That don't seem right. That seems funky. Sean Kearns in the building. What up, Sean? He said, Ron, I felt Tibbs got the Knicks to a certain... Oh, wait, I read that already. I apologize. Okay, I don't know how it went backwards. Okay. Craig says, I made the adjustment in my head immediately, but it took Tibbs 3 games. They have put the press on Brunson. Took a minute to adjust. Macau be better. Dante over Macau. I hear that. I mean, wait, I don't want to say that. I like Dante. I don't know if he's the answer all the way at this point. I don't know. But I like Dante. What up, Walter Blackman? How you doing, brother? He said, how are you doing, Ron? Okay. All right. Well, that's what it is about Tibbs, guys. But you might be saying, all right, well, then what's the case? What's next? Like, who are the coaching candidates? Who can we look forward to talking to, or bringing in? I don't know who the Knicks are looking at. I don't know what style of coach they want. I think the Knicks should go out there and bring in, a younger person. And I don't mean it's like an ageism thing. I just mean fresh ideas, younger, fresh ideas, has seen different styles of this current level of basketball, whether it be college or the NBA, but who has some different eyes on the game, you know what I mean? And can have some sophisticated packages for offense. And if they're not, and it doesn't matter, okay? The guy, in my opinion, the guy needs to be that, and he needs to either be a good offensive coach or a good defensive coach. He doesn't have to be both. If they could be both, great. But you know what? Whatever you're good at, that's your role. And you bring in another guy or another 2 people to help you cultivate the other side. Whatever. I'm good at offense. I need to bring in a couple defensive coaches. We'll figure it out. That's what I want. Keith Turner says Sam Cassell. I don't mind Sam Cassell. I know he's unproven. So I know that's the only iffy thing when you're talking about a coach who's never been a head coach before. That's always a little iffy. But I like Sam Cassell because I know he was a point guard / shooting guard, whatever. He knows basketball, and he's won championships, and he's been on the Boston Celtics coaching staff. He's seen how good organizations are run. So I'm not mad at Sam Cassell. But, other guys out there that might be on the list is Danny Hurley, who's been a fantastic college coach. Can't say enough about his college game and what he's been doing. He gets the best out of his young players, but can that translate to NBA players? Don't know. Mark Jackson, like we said, he's obviously an option. DeLon Wright. No, I'm just joking. Jay Wright from Villanova, Brunson's and Macau and Dante's old coach, Hart's old coach. Jay Wright has always been a winning coach, but once again, it's that same thing. Can he coach on the NBA level and get through to these NBA players of today? Don't know. But I think Johnny Bryant is the guy. I think Johnny Bryant is the dude. Listen, they brought Johnny Bryant here from Phoenix thinking that he was going to lure Donovan Mitchell here. It didn't happen. But what we did see, the 2 years that Johnny Bryant was here, everywhere that coach went, Tom Thibodeau went, Bryant was right there on his shoulder, telling him what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. The other thing we saw from Johnny Bryant is when guys came off the court, he was putting his arm around them, telling them, this is what you did. This is what you should have did. Or you did great. Hit him in the chest. Boom. We saw Johnny Bryant do that all the time. He looks like the type of coach we might need. So that's just knowing what he did with the Knicks. Then what does Johnny Bryant do? Oh, hey, listen, I've been here. Coach Tibbs gets an extension. I think I was going to be the next head coach. Y'all giving Coach Tibbs another 3 years or whatever. I'm out. He goes to Cleveland, becomes the assistant head coach over there. What does Cleveland do? They win 60 games. You know what I mean? I know they got knocked out in the playoffs by Indiana, but let's not forget, Cleveland dealt with injuries that they never really dealt with all season. All of a sudden, their guys started getting hurt, and Indiana benefited once again. Because I don't know if a healthy Cleveland Cavalier team loses to Indiana. I don't think they do. But that's what happened. But I got to give Johnny Bryant credit for what he's done over there. I give Kenny Atkinson credit, of course. But we can't look at Cleveland and say that team that we know who Cleveland was. We thought, Cleveland was our little brother, the way we were handling them. We can't look at that team and watch them have the type of year they had this year, win 60-plus games, running through the rest of the league, and think that coaching didn't have anything to do with it. Like them two dudes, Kenny Atkinson and Johnny Bryant, turned that team around. So I think Johnny Bryant, who the reports were a couple days ago or so that he is one of the two finalists. It's down to two people for the Phoenix Suns head coaching job. They really like Johnny Bryant and they really like some other coach. I don't know the name, but between those two guys, they were going to make a choice on who's going to be their next coach. I think the Knicks saw that and said, "Oh boy, if we want Johnny Bryant, we got to get rid of Tibbs now." And so I'm thinking that is where we're at. Now, of course, they got to reach out to Johnny Bryant, and he may not want the job because he came from Phoenix, so he might want to be out there in Phoenix. I don't know, You got to see. Met says Mike Malone. Well, listen, Mike Malone is a good coach, but he's so much like Tibbs. I think you're going to start pulling your hair out, Mets. Does he play a couple more players than Tibbs does? Yes. But all the other stuff is very Tibbs-like. So are you comfortable with that? I don't know so much about his in-game adjustments. I'm going to have to do a little deep dive on Mike Malone. When we get a little, closer into stuff and I do like a coaching corner or something, I don't know, a coaching candidate list, and I break them down. But Mike Malone is very Tibbs-like. And let's not forget, could you imagine a team that won the championship 2 years ago, has a winning record going into the playoffs, gets fired for some unrelated stuff? You imagine how upset the owner had to be to fire you, a winning coach, brought my team a championship? You imagine how upset he must have been with Mike Malone? Think about that. Do we want to bring that to the Garden? I don't know. I remember that, Sean. Definitely. I definitely remember Brendan Malone was an assistant under Van Gundy. I know. And Mike Malone would love the job to be able to coach the Knicks. He would love that job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm saying, is this the direction that we want to go in today's NBA with the way our roster is constructed? Is this how we want to play things? Randu says, what about the coach that took Milwaukee to a championship? You mean Budenholzer? He's the same coach that went to Phoenix. He's the same coach that they're replacing. Do we want him? I don't know. Once again, it's a very weird situation when you have to talk about a coach that won a championship and then got fired the next year after everything that man was dealing with. His brother passed away in the playoffs, and they still fired him. I don't know, y'all. That's some wild stuff. I don't know. Back in Biz 26 is in the building. Shout out to you. Said, I can see Bryant since he has familiarity with the Knicks players. Yeah. No, I mean, I just think unless you have a home run guy that you know is going to come in and take this team to the next level, whoever that may be, I don't know who's better than Johnny Bryant at this point. Johnny Bryant knows our system. Johnny Bryant went somewhere and, got them to a higher place, like took them to the next level. In the end, they got knocked out, but they got knocked out due to injury and guys not playing 100% anymore. It wasn't because they and they beat everybody this year. Okay, they ran through everybody this year, so it's not like they're not good enough to win. So I don't know. I think Johnny Bryant might be my first choice if I had to choose. Now the other people, that's the list that we gotta figure out what makes sense, who the Knicks should be talking to. But I'll tell you one thing: I do believe that if they were prepared to fire Tom Thibodeau and they wound up doing it, I do think they have their idea of their candidates, who they have in mind, who they think they should be going with. Keith Turner says, if I'm gonna lose my job, I'm not going down with an unproven coach. I hear that. I hear that. That's fair. But would you rather go with a coach that, I mean, the thing is, with the way the NBA is going now and the way these teams are playing, a lot of the unproven coaches or the coaches that don't have a big tenure are the ones that are getting the best out of these players and redefining what today's NBA looks like. Do you want to miss the boat and say, I want to go with this because it's the safe bet? Or do I want to try something different and take my team to the next level for years to come and get this style of basketball away? So that way, even if that coach leaves in a couple years or whatever, we bring in another coach, but we already have a new system that works that somebody else can plug and play and fit right into. He can make some tweaks, but you know what I mean? We got something that works. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Ime Udoka was available, I want Ime Udoka. He's not leaving Houston. The way he's turning Houston around over there, he's looking like a really damn good coach. Now you start to look at, hey, yo, maybe he was the dude in Boston. And then when he left, he goes to Houston. He turns them around. Houston looking good. They're young, they're inexperienced. That's why they're not going further than they should. But they look good. Maybe Ime Udoka is the dude. I don't think that the Knicks can pry him away. So, you know what I mean? Like, we need somebody like that. And I don't know who's out there like that we could get. I just think sometimes you got to take a chance and say, this guy is going to be that guy. He's next. And I think Johnny Bryant may be that guy. I don't know if there's anybody else out there that you guys can think of that might work. And David Smith says, Giannis got Budenholzer fired. Yeah, that's what the rumors were. And I obviously said something too, because if the Knicks are in contention for Giannis, or if Giannis is even considering coming to New York, he doesn't want to be here with Budenholzer. So that's another thing. Nah. Yeah, I don't know about Monty, bro. I think Monty Fugazi. I thought Monty was a genius, like one of those savants of coaching when he was with Phoenix. I thought he was the next level. But I'll tell you my problem with Monty, and that's why he easily gets disqualified in this case. One, he was talking crap about the Knicks. No, I'm just joking. He was, but I don't care about that. I care about how he coaches. One is he got that Phoenix Sun team to 60 wins, and then they got knocked out early in the playoffs, right? But he had a lot of good talent over there, and I think they learned how to play well in his system that he developed. But he just had the right players at the right time, and you know everything was just clicking. And the reason why I say that I don't know if he's as good of a coach as I thought is because he went to Detroit, and Detroit stunk, right? Detroit had one of their worst seasons in a long time. They won like 13 games, 11 games, whatever it was. Now, you guys might say, hey, but Ron, Detroit didn't have a lot of talent. Detroit's talent is similar to the talent they got now. I mean, of course, it's better now, but it was very similar. Some of the core pieces over there are still there. And he didn't acclimate himself well to getting the best out of that talent. So, you know, then you watch Bickerstaff go over there, and Bickerstaff got them boys playing. I just think there's a difference, and I think Monty maybe needs to go back to the drawing board and come up with some new style of coaching and different things that he can implement that will take his coaching style in a different direction and maybe put him back on the map. But yeah, Monty's not the dude. Yeah, negative on the Monty. Chauncey Billups. That's interesting. I mean, guys, we looked at Chauncey Billups and said we're not sure about his coaching style, but we got to see him starting to get the best out of those Portland Trailblazers, those young guys. They don't have the same type of talent the Knicks have, and they were really looking pretty good at times. Chauncey Billups is a thought. He's a thought. I don't know if they'd go with him. I mean, even if like even Johnny Bryant, if Johnny Bryant wasn't already over here and already knew the front office and had that relationship, I don't know if Johnny Bryant would be the guy. But I'm just feeling like because he has that relationship and because he left here and Cleveland got busy, really busy, it makes him look really good. Oh, David Smith said Udoka was available? Really? After what happened with Houston? I didn't know that. Or maybe you say maybe he signed during the season or something. I don't know. Knicks owe Tibbs $44 million. I know, it's crazy. Could you imagine? Oh man. Well, thank you for getting us to the ECF. Thank you for changing our culture. Thank you for making us relevant again. Here's $44 million. We owe you. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Jeff Van Gundy either, Sean. I think the Knicks are really ready to take a step in a new direction with, like I said, with the way the NBA is going, with someone who understands the new style of basketball in today's NBA. I think that's where they're going. I don't think they're going with any. First off, Jeff Van Gundy really made burned a lot of bridges with the organization. There's not a lot of people around anymore, but maybe Dolan was here and they have an issue. But I just don't think he would ever be a coach of the Knicks again because he went out in the wrong way. And so that's a problem. And I think he's from the old style. I remember when Jeff Van Gundy left the Knicks and he went to go coach Houston. Houston didn't do anything. I don't, and that was when he was still in his prime of coaching. Like, he was still fresh off the Knicks. Yeah, I don't know about Jeff Van Gundy at this point. Shut up, Wiz. He said I would have them hire you, Ron. The worst case scenario is the players would be able to fall back on becoming Knicks City dancers. Well, thank you. That's the least I could do. Ruben Nunez says wherever we hire or whoever we hire as a head coach has a tough job to break a 50-year curse. Sounds impossible. It's not going to be easy, and there's a lot of expectations, a lot of heat on you, because as much as we know that maybe it's time for change, getting rid of Tibbs, that person is going to be in Tibbs' shadow until they do something. You know what I mean? Like they got to make it to the playoffs and actually get to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even, win the Eastern Conference Finals to erase how people look at Tibbs. Because if they don't do that, it's well, we could have got this. Man, we made it to the second round. We got farther with Tibbs. That's what it's going to be. You know how it's going to be. So yeah, they're going to have to live that down. To Cowboys in the building. Let's go. Said Rana, I appreciate Tibbs, but it's time for a change. Different ideas, different schemes, etc. Ruben Nunez says Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra is interesting. He's interesting. I think he wore out his welcome in Miami because he was there maybe too long. And I think some of his weaknesses started to unravel. He was very good when he had, a good core of talented players over there. But when he started to have to mix and match and use players that maybe were, still developing or new, that's when you started to see the little bit of issues that he might have had. So I don't know. I don't know if Spoelstra is the answer. I would say, if I would say this, if things didn't work out and all the candidates we want that are highly touted, we can't get, and Spoelstra is the only guy that's available, like compared to some other people, I wouldn't mind Spoelstra. Spoelstra's not a bad coach, in my opinion. I just think that he was in a situation where he wasn't comfortable with his roster construction anymore, and just didn't know how to get the best out of those guys, that particular unit. Um, so I don't know. Dan says, knowing the Knicks, they'll bring Woodson back. I mean, listen, I like Woodson. I don't know if I want him as a head coach, but I wouldn't mind having him on the staff. I don't think he was a bad head coach. I just don't know it. I'm still going back to today's NBA, guys. I just think the Knicks need a guy who knows how to coach in today's NBA. Wherever the NBA is going, that person needs to know how the Knicks can fit in that style of play, whatever it may be. Brooklyn Butch says they have identified a candidate. I'm sure, Ron, you don't fire someone like that and not have a plan. Shame on you if you do. I hear that. All right, let me open up the phone lines for a little bit as I get into whatever else is next. But we'll try to see if we can do a deep dive into coaches at some point. There's a lot of things to talk about with the Knicks. I don't want to, put myself in a situation where I'm focusing on too much too soon. I want to give it some time because we also need some time to see what's out there, right? I don't want to start talking about a bunch of different coaches, and then that's not even guys that are on the Knicks radar. You know what I mean? I want to see who they're looking at, and then be able to break those guys down and see what we think might fit us. You know what I mean? As fans. Sean Kern says maybe Stackhouse or Mike Brown. Mike Brown is part of that style of coaches too, but I don't know. I think they'd have to do a deep dive on Mike Brown to see some things, because I kind of feel like Mike Brown got a little bit of a bad rap in Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox got him fired, and then eventually they traded De'Aaron Fox. So I'm like, what the hell happened here? Like, what do we do here? And I think he was coaching them well. They had a winning record, if I wasn't mistaken. They were playing pretty good under Mike Brown. So I don't know. Stackhouse is a good one, but doesn't he have a job? I mean, I don't know if he'd leave where he's at. Joe Curry in the building said, we needed this now. We need to trade Cat first chance we can. If we don't re-sign Precious Achiuwa, him as well in the sign and trade to free agency starting and get either Mark Jackson or Kenny. Well, we're not getting Kenny. Kenny ain't leaving Cleveland. They like what Kenny did because they can't blame Kenny for anything. Like, you might say he couldn't make the proper adjustments to get through Indiana, but then we realized that Indiana is a much better team than people might have thought. And so going up against a hurt Cleveland Cavalier team, who do you blame for that? It's not fair. It's tough. Del Curry. Now, that's a name I never thought of. I don't even know if he'd be interested in coaching. But that's an interesting name. But I don't think he coaches at any level, right? I don't know. I could be wrong. No, I hear you, though. I mean, I get you on that. I wouldn't mind having Del Curry on the staff. If he wants to try coaching, like having him as an assistant. Right. Oh, okay. Stackhouse is on the Warriors staff. Yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know. That's a look. That is a look. All right. Let's open up the phone lines real quick, and then we'll get into these other two topics and get up out of here. I know there's other people that today is a very busy day for content. I know people are rocking and rolling today. And we all doing these emergency shows. So shout out to the community. All right, let's get this phone line up and running. Yep. You already know. We ready. All right. Let me drop this down. Okay. I'll put the call-in number up there once again for people. Call in to Still Knick fans. Let's talk about it. 347-305-7280. Ooh, we got a caller. Hey, caller, you are live. State of the game with your man Ron. What's going on? Your name and where you calling from?
Ron, what's good? It's Dan.
Dan, what's up, brother?
Not much. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm all right. I'm still like processing this whole little change here, but you know, I'm all right.
Well, and I'm 50-50 on it because Tibbs did a good job, even though he did dig his own grave, but he did bring us back to relevancy. But I feel that this is not as much of a Leon Rose thing as it was Dolan. Dolan was probably looking at it, hearing what, because Dolan is like Kevin Durant, you know, on Twitter, you know, looking at what everybody's saying, and you know, he was like, "No, the fans are getting upset. Let's get rid of them." So,
yeah,
it's a lot, you know. But I do think that realistically, Johnny Bryan is probably the only realistic option. But you know, we never know. They might confuse us all and bring Dice Yamamoto. So we just have to wait and see. But I did want your thoughts on a trade, you know, the trade that I put in the chat. So I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I took a look at it. I know you sent it to me on X. I took a look at it. Shoot, do I have it here? Yeah, I got it. I got it here. It wasn't a bad trade. I mean, I did tell you, I think I left you a message. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know about that the Dallas Mavericks giving up that first round pick though. I don't know if the Dallas faithful will allow Dallas to give that pick up and still feel comfortable with that organization after trading Luka. I don't know if they can do it.
And I think that if they got KD, you know, that's what I felt the same way at first, but I felt with them getting KD in the mix and giving up that first round, you know, number one, they gave up Luka. You know, we never thought that would have happened. So, you know, I don't put nothing past them. But, you know, I feel that, you know, with them getting Deuce and KD and Cat going to Phoenix, and we get Gafford and PJ Washington in that pick, you never know. Even if we had to throw Bridges in it, I wouldn't be upset. But, you know, we have to do something. I think those players and the other ones that if we sign Malik Beasley or Dennis Schroeder and maybe Keon Ellis, our bench will be solid.
It's not a bad, like I said, the guts of the trade and how you laid it out is not bad at all. I don't know for the life of me, bro. I just cannot. I don't know if that would be something that they could part with. The Kevin Durant thing, on the surface, I don't know if the Dallas fans would even want to bring in that aging veteran who wants 150 million over the next 2 years, 150 or 160. We're talking about 75 million per year over the next 2 years is what type of extension he's looking for. I don't know if the fans and the front office would be happy with that situation. But the flip side is they got Kyrie, and being able to reunite Kyrie with Durant might be something they'd go for. So that's why I said it's not a bad trade. Some of the stuff you put in there, I could see it. I can't see them getting rid of that first pick, bro. Because even whatever they do, bringing in Durant, you're bringing an aging veteran player who might have a couple years left in the tank, and you're pairing him with Kyrie, but giving away a chance at having a generational talent in Cooper Flag, who you would have. But you know, I know, I hear you. I'm just saying, like, for Dallas,
I think Nico's trying to salvage anything he can right now and win a championship, because their window is, you know, their window is like minute. So he has to do whatever he can to try to get that championship next year or the year after, and that's it.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't know, because there's been so many different rumors and so much controversy with everything going on with Dallas. Some people are saying that Dallas is looking to leave Dallas, like they want to be the Vegas team. And if that's the case, you're not really caring about winning. I don't know this for certain. I'm just telling you those are the rumors.
Well, if that's the case, they might go into the way of the old school Steinbrenner days where he just got the biggest names, and and that was it. So, but like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I just know that we need to change up the bench. We need to have. I really like Malik Beasley or Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench for us.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I mean, Malik Beasley, like I always say, he's a pain in the butt, but you don't mind having him on your team. You know what I mean? And Dennis Schroeder, I got no issues with him. I think he's definitely a good backup point guard. He's definitely somebody, like if you need to talking about somebody you could use that could help facilitate and do different things, and he's a good scorer and can knock down baskets when you really need a basket. Those are the type of guys you want to have on the team that could definitely help Jalen Brunson out with what we got going on. So I don't mind those two names at all.
And you could play him with Brunson. Take the pressure off of Brunson. And like I said too, the Keon Ellis, that would be a under the radar signing for us. And I don't think Sacramento's going to bring him back. But we'll see. I think he's a good under the radar 3-and-D. He's not a star player, but he reminds me of a better version of like Trevor Ariza or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could see
that would be good coming off the bench.
I can see that. Hey, man, listen, Dan, I want to thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it. And I think that, like I said, the trade was not bad. I think it's one of those where I just don't know the direction that Dallas is going on because of all this speculation and all this conspiracy theories with what happened with the trade and how, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people that believe Dallas is trying to move to Vegas, and the trade happened because it was a gift, because of this. One hand's going to watch the other. And then the other thing is when LeBron retires, he's going to buy a stake in Dallas, which will then turn into Vegas, and he'll have his piece of the Vegas. There's a lot going on, man. So I don't know what to believe, bro. But I hear you.
No, and I agree. But it's too, they have, even if they're going to stay in Dallas, they have to look at the fact that San Antonio is going to go hard after Giannis. So,
yeah,
we have to see, because San Antonio probably has the best asset set up besides OKC.
Yeah, that would be.
But OKC doesn't need him,
That would be very weird and crazy to deal with Giannis and, what's his face over there?
Wembanyama.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
And if they could pull it off without giving up Stephen Castle, forget it.
Yeah. I mean, forget it. You ain't lying. Anyway, hey man, Dan, thanks for the call, bro.
You taking the call. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good, brother. Take it easy.
Man, have a good one. Be blessed.
You too. All right. So yeah, man, this is going to be a very interesting time. The Knicks going to have to look at some, really interesting options and see how it fits what they're trying to do going forward. Do we have the right personnel for these coaches? That's going to be the question too. Caller, you are on live State of the Game. This is man Ron. What's going on? Your name and where you calling from?
This is Randu.
What up, Randu? What's going on, brother? How you feeling, man?
Just seeing what's going on with Tibbs, man.
Did you see this coming?
I ain't expect to hear that today.
Yeah. You know.
But then again, after hearing that the front office was definitely going to make changes, I'm not kind of surprised, especially after the way Tom Thibodeau coached against the Pacers series.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on because there's so
I'm gonna
many.
say this though about Tibbs though, man. Yo, he's a good coach. I mean, before he came to the Knicks, man, the Knicks was a joke in this league. Before he came.
That's true.
But then again, I mean, he's stubborn to a fault. I mean, yeah, so I mean, he's a good coach despite his limitations. I mean, I wish him the best, but I think it's time for us to go for the Knicks to go in another direction.
Yeah, I think you may be right. I think that's how they felt. Yeah. I see that. Sean. Yeah. So yes. So he's definitely somebody I would put on my list. He would definitely come in. I would definitely interview Jerry Stackhouse. He's definitely a part of the list of coaches I would be putting together.
Yeah, him, Johnny Bryant.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing, here's the flip side. You cannot play around with Johnny Bryant, guys. If Johnny Bryant is your guy and you feel like he's one of the top candidates, then you got to give Johnny Bryant the job. Because Johnny Bryant might have a job in front of him in the next week or two. So
that's true.
He may not be like, yo, listen, I was over there. Y'all told me I was going to be this guy. I understood. I took that role. It didn't work out. Tibbs coached well. He deserved to get extended. I left. Now you want to bring me back, but you want to interview a whole bunch of other candidates. I just went over there. We won 60 plus games. We knocked y'all. We cooked y'all. So listen, he probably be like talking that spice, man. Like, listen, if y'all want me, give me the job. I ain't waiting for all these other coaches for you to interview whoever you think is going. I think I should. If you considering me, then I showed you enough that I could be the coach. So let's make it happen. I already know the system. I know all the players. I know how you guys work. Let's make it happen. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Bryant came like that. I'm not saying he would be that way, but will we be mad at the guy? So that's the thing. But yeah, like Johnny Bryant, Sam, I still think Sam Cassell should be on the list. Some people don't like the fact that, he's never done it before, but neither has Johnny Bryant. But I think Johnny Bryant having the relationships makes us look at him a little different. But, he's the same as Sam Cassell, actually. So if we can interview Johnny Bryant, why not interview Sam Cassell?
Right. I would put him on the list. But the thing is this though, before Leon Rose fired Tibbs, I believe that Leon Rose already has a list of guys as candidates.
I agree. I think he does too. I think he definitely does. And I think that the one thing about that's why I say I think Leon, when he has time to do things the way he wants to do it, I think we get good results from it. I think the only time we ever see a situation where things may not work out is when something happens that he's not expecting, right? Like the trade for Cat, having to throw Dante in there. I don't think he wanted that. So stuff like that is what affected this bench.
Bridges move, that was more planned.
Yeah, the Bridges move was planned out the gate.
Yeah.
And listen, as fans, guys, look, let's say this, once again. We may not be happy with Bridges' inconsistency, but it's not like Bridges doesn't fit the blueprint of what we wanted, okay? He just is inconsistent, and we just can't depend on him all the time. But when he's going right, when the offense is there, the defense is there, he's what we wanted. It's just that we can't depend on it all the time. I think that's the biggest issue with Bridges. He's just terribly inconsistent.
Right. I'm gonna say this. Okay, if Tibbs wasn't fired, I do believe that there would have been some changes. But being that Tibbs and got fired, I definitely know it's going to be some player changes. Definitely. Because whoever the new coach is, you know what I'm saying, might want certain players on the team, might not want certain players on the team.
Yeah.
So that's going to be pretty interesting.
No, I mean, you're right. That's the thing. That's why I said it's very important that when you interview the coach, whoever the coach is, you got to find someone who's okay with a lot of the current roster, right? And Johnny Bryant might be one of those people because he has a relationship with some of the guys. But, the other thing too is the coaching staff, obviously as what's put in the chat, we all know this. Usually when a new coach comes in, they get to pick their coaches. What happens if whoever the coach is, no matter what, says, I don't want Rick Brunson on my staff? I don't have a problem with it, but he's not my choice. How does Jalen Brunson react to that? I say Jalen Brunson is a professional. He's given the captain of the Knicks for a reason. He should just look at it like any other situation. Not many people have the ability to play on a team with your friends and have your father as one of the coaches. So you just got to suck it up and say, this is the NBA. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And it also shows Brunson that, nobody's safe. You got to, don't get too comfortable. You got to go out there and do what we need you to do. And when we got to make changes, you got to be a good soldier. It's about the team. It's not about the individual. So anyway, do you have anybody?
One more thing though, like, long as they just bring Cat, Brunson, OG, Bridges back, and Mitch. I mean, hell, Deuce, Payne, Precious, maybe even Hart. They can go. Because we need some type of stability in that starting lineup.
Huh. So you're not upset with the player movement if the Knicks have to trade somebody like Josh Hart, you're okay with it?
Yeah, I could be, yeah. All depends on who they're bringing in.
Okay. Yeah, because, there's a chance there could be some player movement, and guys like Cat, Hart, Bridges, Deuce, those guys might all be on the trading block. Not all together. I'm saying, one or the other or whatever, depending.
Well, I know Bridges has one more year left on his contract, so he's up for an extension. Now, I don't know what type of money he's going to be expecting, but if the price is too much, they may have to trade him.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, Randu.
Because they just overpaid OG $40 million a year last year, so then you also got Cat on the roster, Brunson.
I think there's going to be some changes.
I think the best thing to do with Bridges is, okay, don't they have until January of next year to sign him to an extension?
Yeah, they've got some time. They don't got to do it right away.
Exactly. Wait till January, see how he plays at the start of the next season, and go from there.
I mean, that is one way to go about it. If you feel like you're out of the other sweepstakes of people that may be looking to move, because if Giannis is out there, the Knicks can't wait if they actually have a shot at him. And I'm not saying they do, but if Giannis does want to be with the Knicks can't wait. They're gonna have to go get him when they can get him. That
True.
might mean that the Knicks can figure out a way to get Giannis without giving up Cat, but we know that's not real. There's no way. So I don't know. I don't know, man.
The only way they could get Giannis without giving up Cat or Brunson, it would have to be Bridges, Mitch, yeah. It would have to be Bridges, Mitch, Deuce, and Hart.
Yeah, but Milwaukee wouldn't want that.
I know.
Giannis is one of the
So
best
it has
players
to
in the
be
league.
either Brunson or Cat the deal.
Yeah, but the Knicks ain't trading Brunson. At least not
Right.
yet. And I'm not saying they will trade him. I'm just saying like he's the one guy that I can see in this current mix that's untouchable, at least for now, because he's a good building piece. You know what I mean? Like even whatever issues he may have, ball handling, not being the best facilitator, his clutchness and his offensive ability is something that any team can use. So he really puts himself in a spot where like you can use him whatever, you can figure out different ways in a roster to use him. And he's very appealing to a new head coach. So yeah, Brunson's not going anywhere. Cat, on the other hand, is still on the radar because of the defense and the foul trouble, but really that's it. The offensive game and all that stuff is great, and I think a new head coach would like that too. They might figure out a better way to use them than Tibbs used them. That's the thing. Some of these coaches can unlock these guys. You know what I mean? They can figure out the better, how to use these guys better than Tibbs did. So we'll see. Well, Randu, I appreciate the call, my guy. We'll see what happens going forward, man. It's going to be really eventful. It's going to be an interesting summer. Well, the Knicks can go from firing the coach, making another big blockbuster move, or not making a big blockbuster move, doing some small stuff. You never know. They might just say, let's just see what a new coach can get out of this roster with some tweaks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But all right, brother.
Okay.
You have a great night, man.
I'll talk to you Saturday.
Yeah, yes, you will. Take it easy, bro.
All right. Later.
All right, man. All right. So, as we can see, player movement. Oh, the phones is hot, folks. Let me get this call. Hey, caller, you are on live with State of the Game. This is Ron. What's going on? What's your name and where you calling from? I know who it is. You don't got to say it.
You know who I am.
I know.
You know who I am.
I know who it is. What up, Wiz?
What up, Ron? It's Big Wiz BKLA. Calling from LA right now, but my heart is Brooklyn in the house. Oh man, this is like the best news I've heard so far this year. I'm sorry, but I'm not a Tibbs hater. And actually, I want to get Tony Crow to take back some words. He said, either you want to get Tibbs fired or you appreciate what he's done. Actually, I appreciate everything he's done, but also wanted him fired. You can do both. So let's just be clear that those who wanted him fired did not dislike what he's done and didn't appreciate him. And he's a very good, in fact, an excellent coach, but he is a regular season coach. I'm ex-Marine, right? And there's some peacetime generals and there's some wartime generals. Some people can lead during peace, and some guys are the combat guys who lead during combat. And Tibbs is not the combat general collecting the playoffs are. So sorry, bye-bye. $30 million extra coming to you for if you want to come in the front office or you want to go, to Cancun for 3 years. You're rich, boy. You're rich. Now go find a woman or something. Anyway, I think Tibbs. I don't want to even speculate why he got fired. There's so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that we could speculate about whether it's he lost the locker room, he lost one or two major players, his lack of, ability to adjust and do what needs to be done during games, his playoff performance failures. Of course, the big thing for me was the fact that last year in the playoffs, with 3 or 4 of our top guys injured, he saw what the bench could do, and he came back this year and refused to play the bench again. So basically, they saw what essentially is his pattern, and he went back to it. And if you do that, and the front office thinks you're not doing what you should do, or if it's Dolan who thinks it, whoever it is, you got to make a move. So now my pick. Number 1 is Johnny Bryant. I think Johnny had the right, balance. I think he was in Tibbs' air. He was strong enough to keep some continuity because most of the guys kind of know him. I mean, obviously, Cat and Mikal would be kind of new to him. I think he likes the younger players to give them chances, which is number 1 in my book, is to find what you can go 12 deep. 10 deep, fine. I want to go 12 in case you lose, get injured, 2 guys get injured. Don't be shocked in game 6 of the playoffs that, oh my goodness, what can Shamet do? What can DeLon Wright? Don't try to throw it in there at game 4, 5, or 6 in the ECF final. So that's my vibe. That's my spiel. Thank you. Bye-bye, Tim. Let's get Bryant. Of course, number 2 is a split. Yamamoto, love it, that idea. Jay Wright, not a bad idea. I think he's a really sharp guy. Mark Jackson, of course, I still will not say no to Mark Jackson. Keep the continuity of the New York Knicks spirit throughout. And that's my spiel.
Okay. All right. I like that, Wiz. Yeah. I mean, listen.
Thank you, sir.
No, that's a good job by you. You came in with a purpose, so it's okay. All right. I mean, listen, we got to see, man. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I would love if the Knicks come and hit us with a coach that none of us have on our radar. Like, we don't even know about this dude. This dude's name is Gemini Packer or something like. Oh, he's a great coach. I don't know. I would just hope. I would love if they hit us with somebody new, innovative, who can be here for a long time and has some really out of the box thinking, but it's good, like smart basketball mind. That would be great. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
I told you, I got an idea, man, out of the box. Think about out of the box. Ron from Still Big Fans.
Yeah, no. If you want to see a guy who is lucky if he finishes one season, but puts that money aside, give me that money. I'll take it.
Exactly, Ron. We can split. I'll be a manager. You ain't it, son. Just give me 10%, man. I can get you in there.
I've learned.
But you, Queen, and Freezy, imagine you 3 doing co-coaching, and you guys be like, let's go back to the chat and see what those guys think about the next move.
Yeah.
Every substitution, you like, check the chat. What does the chat say?
Right,
and you'd be like,
I mean,
okay.
Listen, I ain't gonna turn it down. Like, hey, I'll do it. I'll coach. Sign me up.
Absolutely. Now, as far as personnel, by the way, I'm comfortable with the personnel as is. I think campaign probably done. Precious is probably going to be gone. I think Wade Mill could be a stopping factor, but I wouldn't mind keeping Precious. But Bocham, I think he's got a serious game, and I think our rookies now, second-year players, who are still rookies, going to have no playing time, basically, would all benefit from 6 months of intense, 10, 15 minutes, game time, and see what they got before we write off too young like the Queen does. Queen doesn't like rookies and young guys. But let's give them a chance for 20, 30 games, see what they got. And I know playoff time is going to be a pressure, but there are some kids out there who love and thrive on pressure. So why not have them show up, for 20, 30 games, and then at least playoffs, we know what we got. And will they succeed? Maybe, maybe not. But I think they will. I think it's a new day, and there are rookies out there and second-year players who are ready to step in and contribute 10 minutes to give our vets rest and we come in strong. So personnel-wise, I'm not looking at anybody. I think Sam mentioned on Queen's quick broadcast was DeJounte Murray. Of course, I'm an Aaron Fox kind of guy, but DeJounte Murray and Fox type model, I would love that for, our ball handler to give our boy, Brunson some rest and to relieve him from carrying the ball and the load all the time. So that's my thing about personnel. Stay with it and maybe bring in someone like a DeJounte Murray type, you know, the Aaron Fox type. Obviously, that's a little bit of money and movement. And I'm sorry, but my boy Hart could be the sacrifice, but so could Mitch because Mitch is an expiring contract, and he could end up being a what's it called, a iHeart type ending where he walks away next year for nothing. But maybe we keep him the year to try to win the chip.
Right.
Sounds like a plan to me, Elon. I'm going to jump off because I want to let you go. I want to hear you talk about me without me on the phone to rebuttal everything you say. But I know you're going to say some whack stuff. Anyway, keep dancing, my man. Keep dancing.
All right, Wiz. Thank you, man. Appreciate the call. Have a good night, brother.
All right, well, peace.
Later. Yeah. So, I mean, Wiz had some interesting thoughts, and I think that he's okay with running back for the most part. I don't know, man. I think the Knicks are gonna have to look at some things. I think the smaller pieces, there might have to be some changes here. If the Knicks have enough money to make the changes, because they don't have a lot of money. So that's the thing. I'm not sure, but I think they got to look at it. Caller, what's going on? You're live State of the Game. This is Ron. What's your name and where you calling from?
How you doing, Ron? I'm a first-time caller. You have a great show. Definitely really, really good at what you do.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, Jay. Yeah, from New York. So I chose to call you so we could speak about the Knicks.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You like that?
That was good.
Oh yeah. When you hit me, blessings, brother. How you feeling tonight?
I'm all right, bro. Can't complain, man. It is what it is. There's a lot going on. All day it's been crazy. My phone's been blowing up. I'm seeing people go on live immediately. Everybody's hitting with the Knick content. Everybody's talking about this blockbuster, move of firing Tibbs and like, where do we go from here? It's just it's crazy, but we're here. It's real.
Yeah. I mean, look, we chatted a bit, but the fact is that a couple things in order. Let's keep it real. The writing was on the wall, in whether it was this year or if we didn't make it next year, whatever it is. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of moving parts in this.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tibbs was actually probably looking for a new home the moment Cat got here. But I don't want to do that to too many people. I'm not blaming Cat for losing this season. I'm just saying, jokey joke from their Minnesota days of, when they said Tibbs moved on prior for that. What I think that you have mentioned, a few people have mentioned before I talk about any players really quick. First of all, props and flowers to Tibbs. All right? We can't sit here and just crap all over this dude who brought us to the playoffs with some actually terrible teams in the beginning. And maybe, just maybe, the game got a little younger for him. Or he got a little older for the game.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of showed it this year with the 7-man rotation, not allowing people to try out to see if they even had any of that thing, any chance to spell people for 5 minutes like you were talking about early. A little bit of the get off my lawn type of attitude, that style. And, unless you have the superstars, from 1 to like 8, star team, you can't be that way. We do have to give the man props for bringing us to a new level, a higher level every year. So I'm that's why I said in the beginning I was slightly indifferent,
Mm-hmm.
Because I always thought the biggest problem we had was when Bryant left. Because if Tibbs stayed, Bryant stayed, who knows what would have happened? Because Bryant knew how to talk to them. Tibbs knew best. He lives basketball. I think that was a major issue right then and there. Then we made a team, had a brand new team at the last second of the season. You add these players, you add Bridges, you add Cat, you lose DiVincenzo, you lose some of your stuff. Now your bench is so-called trash. You drafted a couple players, a lot of early injuries. You don't have a center all year. You got to really think about that when you put it into the equation of why Tibbs is gone. Now Tibbs is gone. So it doesn't like that part. Okay, fine, that's part of the equation. But now it's over, so it's all right. Like you can't go backwards. So it is what it is. I liked a lot of the ideas. I really do believe that they moved on this the way they moved on it. Like they lost yesterday and they fired him today. Almost that's how it feels because they're gonna go at least pitch to Johnny Bryant because he had a great relationship with a lot of the players on the team. Though a lot of those players that he did are not here.
Mm-hmm.
He did have a good relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like to see is maybe Johnny Bryant head coach, Sam Cassell and Stackhouse bench coaches.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can pry I don't know if you could pry either one of them to be bench coaches, but hey, I wouldn't be mad with either one of them being an assistant coach or a bench coach. I don't think you can get both of them though. That's a little pricey. They probably have upped their value and like they might be expensive to have two of those guys on the same coaching staff. But I like having one of them. I'm not opposed to that at all. Like they both have good pedigree and they're coming from good organizations with knowing how to play basketball. So why not? But hey, from your lips to the basketball God's ears, bro.
Yeah. Well, look, and we're also like this is like 2K. We're also playing what I called the other day. I'm like the best couch general manager there is. I can the fact is that we can say anything we want, but I do think that the two best possibilities at the second. I mean, what's Woodson doing? I like him as a bench coach. I'm not necessarily sold on him as a head coach. Like I think you said that as well, right? What are the possibilities? And also, do you think now the entire, and I have a point after that, the entire staff is leaving with him? You think like everybody who was coaching is gone?
I think it's almost let me do something that's really near and dear to my heart. As Stephen A said when we were going to get Kevin Durant in that offseason, I think it's a 97% chance that most of that staff is gone.
I thought you were going to tell me that was after 9, 12, and 10, 11, and 12.
I think the one chance that there's only two ways I see this going. One chance is that Johnny Bryant may say, "I'll keep Rick Brunson." Maybe, right?
And that's
if
maybe.
He's the coach. That's a maybe.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, and I don't know why they would do that. To me, I think that's too much. Some things go a little too far. The organization could say, no matter who we pick as coach, Johnny Bryant, whoever it may be, Rick Brunson
Yep.
has to be on the staff. I don't think I see the Knicks, who have come a long way as an organization, have been very professional, understand how they, it is to move as a proper organization. The way Leon Rose has conducted himself and carried himself, and the way he always has a bunch of other people in back of him. If there's stuff he doesn't know, he's got somebody that knows. So he knows how this whole thing should be run. I can't see him handicapping a new coach and telling him, listen, no matter who you bring in here, just understand this guy's got to be here with you. I don't see that.
Right. I agree. You know what? And I agree with you. So that's why I asked you that question. And I think that a lot of times that's a losing recipe anyway, because you come in here with all these ideas, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody saying, "Oh, that's not really how we do it." What do you mean that's not how we do it? I'm the head coach, and then you see that a lot, especially in baseball. Like you see, they want to keep them, and then all of a sudden, I can't bring my guys with me.
Yeah.
So I like Jay Wright. I think that younger is the way to go. Right. Period. So like, I don't want Mike Malone. I don't want I like what he said about the war and the other general. I don't want to go older or like the same age, but I think going younger is a must. And if you're getting rid of like the our staff, then we have to bring in. He's going to have to pick his team. I really believe it's Bryant. I really believe that we moved this fast to go get Bryant. And I also believe that if that's the case, there's a great possibility that some of the players that we thought we were, they were going to save face with because, they traded 5 picks for, or they made a trade for, are not safe as well. I think there's going to be a lot of changes that people need to get ready for. Me, myself, I believe this team needs Brunson to be a guy who's able to run around. I like the fact that he went up to about 2 assists this year, but I'd rather him be able to run around, be free with it, not necessarily have to look for a cat down low or whoever. I also think we need if not 1, but 2 centers, one on the cheap and one that's going to start. I don't think that that or at least a 6'10" guy. Somebody that could do maybe a little bit of both. That 4, that 5 move. And I would love to see somebody come in here and play point guard just once in a while and see what it looks like with Jay being the 2. I think he's a combo guard. I've always said that to you. But what do you think the odds are that Mikhail is going to be offered an extension on it? You think it's very high, or is it that 97% thing?
I think it all depends on what presents itself to the Knicks, what is available to them, what they can get out there. If as far as when they kick the tires, because the thing about Leon Rose and the fact that he was a former agent, he can find out a lot of stuff about who's not happy at this place, who's disgruntled. He's got a lot of different things he can lean on to get an inkling as to where the Knicks can target somebody that maybe other people don't know about as of yet. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that kick the tires too, but I think he might be looking and doing his due diligence before they decide to extend Mikal Bridges. If Mikal looks like he's still the best option out there that can give them that 3-and-D that they wanted to add to the team, if he's still the best option and there's no other 3-and-D guy that presents itself, then I think they will give him the extension. But I do think they'll take a look real quick before they decide to do it. Like, Mikal was not perfect, and I think the Knicks know it. And I think the Knicks also know that when they give Mikal that money, they're gonna be stuck, right? So Mikal is Mikal is like one of your last few moves that you can decide to change. If now's not the right time, Damn it. You still in my thunder, Jay. I was going to talk about this on Saturday. I'm still going to do it, but
I'm so sorry. And you know what? When you go back later, you're gonna see where I apologized like 5 times because I knew I said a few things that you couldn't talk about. But all right. Well, I hear you, and I'll speak for my side on it, and if you don't want to do that,
no, that's fine.
I'm not.
But
I'm not super thrilled.
no, I get it. I get it.
And I think it's tough. It's New York. We haven't won since the '70s. We want to win like as bad as we want anything else in the world. And the moment anything goes wrong, everybody has a favorite player. They want one gone, the other one gone. But no one really has said, "Oh, McHale's my favorite player." You know what I'm saying? And like there's a lot of people said Hart is like I love Josh Hart, but he makes a lot of silly moves. But I would never want him to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Brunson, in my opinion, is the best free agent signing in my lifetime. Is he the best Nick in ever? No. Is he? But in my lifetime, he's the best free agent signing, especially a man who's picked 33rd and played backup for many, many years and came here and did what he's done. Now you don't want to waste time with that. You need to go out there and get somebody who's going to be relatable with him and start really putting a team around him. And I'm so scared to speak because I don't want to steal any thunder, but I just want to say that I think that they're going to make a lot more, a lot of moves that people are not thinking about right now. And when I say that, I'm saying that in order to secure you're going to go out and get younger with your coaching. I prefer to go get Brian because of the way he interacted prior with the team. I do believe eventually DiVincenzo comes back. I do believe that a lot of these things are going to happen. I think that they're going to try to move on from, like, Mitch just upped his value in this playoffs.
Mm.
He just upped his value. Right now is a prime time to trade Mitch. It's a prime time to trade the rest of what he has. And then you go out and you get, I don't even know how to say his name, Yusabelli or from 76ers. The kid plays with a lot of energy.
Mm.
He's good off the bench, And there was like this talk I saw in an article, maybe Danny Ainge is leaving Utah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe that's only because maybe if Danny Ainge wasn't able to do what they brought him there to do, as far as getting that Boston blueprint going and being able to draft stud players for them to rebuild with. Because I think I did see something saying that Utah is at the point where they don't feel like tanking. Well, they can't really say that, but you know what I mean? Like carrying out stuff that way, it makes sense anymore. Like they want to win. They want to change things around now.
So that'd be a perfect team to look. We like those 5 picks that we put for this guy. I always thought it should have went for Kessler. And I do believe at the time he was asking for
but that may not mean
Quickly or Deuce or something like that. I don't remember who it was, but
they may not want to trade Kessler now. Because if
they might not trade him now, right?
Yeah, because if they want to win and be more competitive, then they will pay him.
Right, and they wouldn't want to pay. They could pay him, but they wouldn't have to pay him what Cavs is worth, and then also lose Lauri Markkanen in a trade.
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going with that.
You see it. And so the other thing too is about all these different options, like because we don't know, guys, but about the trade stuff, the Knicks do not have a lot of money. Just looking at who's coming off the books and stuff for this year. There's not a lot going on. We already know campaign. He doesn't make a lot of money. Pacom, not Pacom, Precious Achua, he doesn't make a lot of money either. And then you got team options that you could let go, like PJ Tucker's making almost $3.5 million. You could, let Tucker go. Ariel Hukporti makes $2 million. You could let him go, but I don't think the Knicks want to do that. I'm just saying, like, the Knicks just don't have a lot of money, so I don't even know how much they can really do and change things around here. That's another issue. So they may be forced to make a trade just to help change the roster.
Right, and that's why I'm only mentioning trades rather than free agents, because I don't know. I'm pretty sure I sent it to you, but I checked out what this particular site thought was 1 through 40 on the free agency. There's a Nas Reed out there. There's you could try to figure out certain things, but a Nas Reed now has changed his there's a thing that Petro says: yesterday's price is not today's price. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. Like, some of these guys have now solidified themselves not to be $2 to $6 million players.
Right.
And I think the money that we have right now coming off the books is somewhere in the $12 to $15 million region.
Yeah,
which is like, right. if Mitch doesn't come off the books.
Oh well, and Mitch is probably not going anywhere.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. But if there was a time for it, it would be right now, after he showed himself to be, do well in the playoffs. Mm. But I do agree with you. So $15 million, a new coach, a lot to going on. All right, I'm gonna end it like this. Love the show. Hats off to Tibbs. Really would like to see Brian in here. If not, somebody in that age, somebody young. Jay Wright sounds good to me. And you know what? Stackhouse sounds good to me too. Sam Cassell, I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to do research on that. I know Sam Cassell has been part of a lot of really amazing teams. Cassell was on that Rockets team and on the Timberwolves with Garnett, right? Those teams?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and that Rockets team that played us, right? So with Kenny Smith,
that Rockets team, yeah,
definitely. So I mean, he's got a lot of pedigree. He's got a lot of winning pedigree. So you know what? He's option 2. So anybody younger, in that, I keep forgetting. I'm getting older. They're not as younger as I thought. All right. Well, thank you for taking my call.
No doubt, brother.
Peace, and I'll talk to you soon, my brother.
No doubt, man. Have a great night, man.
Thanks, brother. You too, brother.
All right.
All right. Peace.
So, guys, it is what it is. it has happened, guys. It has happened. I am not, and shout out to David Smith. I never said that I want them to trade Cat. I didn't say that. I did say, I had a show idea for Saturday. It was a thumbnail. I said one of these 3 has to go. It was either Cat, McCall, or Tibbs, and the Knicks have chose Tibbs. So now I have to change my show for Saturday. But that's about it. I don't feel like the Knicks have to trade Cat. I'm just telling you one thing right now. If the Knicks can get Giannis and Giannis says, I want to go to New York, and they can make a deal where Cat is included, because remember, Milwaukee doesn't want a bum or any scraps. They want something back for Giannis Antetokounmpo. If we can trade Cat for Giannis, I'm doing it. Sorry. I know Cat has some very good qualities, and he did some really good things. He helped space the floor. But in order to be good in this league, you got to have good defense, okay? And the Knicks when Cat and Brunson are out there together, don't have good defense. Can you still win with them? Yes, if you find the right pieces. You have to upgrade. I saw, shout out to Dan, who I was talking to earlier, in his trade scenario. The thing I liked about it is that the Knicks would have Jaden McDaniels. Now, they would have to get rid of Josh Hart. That sucks. But do I think Jaden McDaniels is a better defender than Josh Hart? Yeah. And is he taller than Josh Hart? Yes. And more athletic? Maybe not. I know, Josh can jump a little bit. Don't get it twisted. He ain't a dunker, but he can jump as far as getting those rebounds. He gets up. But yeah, no, I mean, Jaden McDaniels would be an upgrade over Josh Hart. He's a similar shooter, but defensively, he's an upgrade, and he has more height. And, he might be able to improve on his shooting. He's a young pup in the league. Josh Hart's been in the league for years now, so he can only improve so much. Jaden McDaniels could probably still improve a little bit. You never know. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can still work with Brunson and Cat, but you have to improve on the defense, right? Deuce is an improvement on the defense over Josh Hart, but the problem with Deuce is he's too small. So the Knicks just have to figure out, if they can add. I think the Knicks I would be fine with this Knicks team if they added 2 things, right? 3 things would be great, but they just don't have enough unless they, trade some people. They need a scorer off the bench, a guy who can knock it down. Even if he's not a 3-point shooter, he's got to be able to knock it down. Like, any given night, he can get you 20. Not even, no question. Those are the type of guys the Knicks need coming off the bench. You need one of those. And then you need a facilitator. If that guy is the facilitator, great. But you definitely need the facilitator who can help move the ball and take some of the weight off of Jalen Brunson, who we know is not the greatest facilitator. He's more of a scorer. So, we would need something like that. And then lastly, we need another defensive big. That's, in my opinion, that's what the Knicks need. Another defender would be great too, if you can get that. But the defender's got to be taller. The defender's got to be like 6'7", 6'8", right? So it's tricky. We might already have it on the roster, but we'll see. What's going on, caller? You are on the state of the. Oh wait, I think. Oh, you are there, still there. Okay. This is Ron. What's going on? Your name and where you calling from?
Hey, what's good? What's good, Ron? This is Big Dog Talk Sports, man. How's it going?
Hey, what's happening, brother? How's everything?
I'm good, man. How about yourself, man?
I can't complain, man. I'm taking it day by day, watching what's going on with this team, man.
Well, I feel you. I just want to say something real quick, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think it's a travesty that Tom Thibodeau got fired. I think it's a travesty. I think the organization overreacted. I'm like, bro, y'all got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Y'all lost to a good Pacers team. Firing the coach, in my opinion, was dumb.
Okay. All right. I like this. Then this is good. This is a good perspective. Good. It's an opinion from the other side, which not a lot of people have come out in defense of Tom Thibodeau and what he's done for this New York Knicks organization. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think we're in the times now that if a team don't win the championship in like a couple years, let's fire the coach and just start all over. It's like, bro, it's called building up. Like we're in a microwave era to where if you don't win a championship in 2 or 3 years, then you're getting fired. The Knicks improved every year under Coach Tom Thibodeau. That's a fact. They improved every year. And like he got fired. So you know how many playoff games the Knicks won since the year 2000?
I know. So I mean,
I
you
think
ain't
in
lying.
the year 2000 they won 31 games. Tom Thibodeau, as a coach, got 24 of those wins. And that was just the past 2 years. And he got fired after going to the Eastern Conference Finals, bro.
Hey, you know what? Listen, you look, you're not wrong in how you feel, and there's definitely a point to be made for it. And that's why, unfortunately, whoever coach comes in here is going to have some pressure on them, because no matter what, they got to get to a certain point in order to stop the people from saying, well, Tibbs did this and this coach hasn't even done this yet. It's not easy to take a team to the Eastern Conference Finals and then win. And that's what most likely a new coach is going to have to do. And until they do that, they're always going to be in Tibbs' shadow. Because say what you will, Tibbs did get the Knicks to a certain point, and there was other issues that happened. Like last year, we don't know how far that team could have went if we had a healthy Julius Randle and OG in the playoffs. And we don't know what could have happened. We didn't get a chance to see it.
And so who are they going to replace him with? And I know Mike Malone's available. I understand that, but it's like you can't win it. Everybody can't win the championship. There's only one team that can win the championship. Thibodeau improved the Knicks every year since he became a head coach, got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he lost his job, bro. You know what the coaches need to do? The coaches in the next agreement, they need to get a pay raise because they don't make enough to where the owners, like if they fire them, they still got to pay them like the rest of their contract, even though they got fired. I think maybe the coaches don't get paid enough to where it hurts them to fire them,
Yeah. But the other thing, big dog, though, the problem is as fans that watch this team, it's just there's certain things that Tibbs does that really frustrates you. And I honestly, because I'm actually surprised that they fired him. I didn't, like I said, I thought one of those three things that I mentioned had to happen, but I really didn't think the Knicks were going to fire Tibbs because they did make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They did get to game 6. I just thought that was, because they be giving Tibbs a lot of room to keep coaching because there's certain things that keep happening. I'm actually kind of surprised that they did it, but I do understand that he got really outcoached versus Indiana, man. Like I it's tough to look at him and say that he didn't because he did. Like Rick Carlisle was pushing all the right buttons and we had no fix for Indiana. We didn't know what to do.
Well, but at the same time, we still got to put some accountability on the players. Too.
True. No, it's not just him. It's not just him.
Ain't much Thibodeau can do when Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the worst figure-roll defenders in the league.
True.
Or they stop giving him the ball when he's dominating offensively.
True.
So and that could be part of the coaching too, as far as them giving them the ball. But it's like you gotta have some awareness. Like if I got a player that's balling and unstoppable going to the basket, like Karl-Anthony Towns was, give him the ball. Stop jacking up threes, give him the ball, let him dominate inside like he can. So I don't know, man. I think the Knicks they're gonna do some crazy trades that they really don't have to do. There's rumors saying they're gonna trade for Kevin Durant.
No,
I don't know how true that is.
Please don't do that.
But I think they're gonna end up doing too much, and it's gonna ruin the team.
I mean, if they trade for Durant, I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not gonna be a happy fan. I will still root for my team. I'm still gonna be like, if they winning games and Durant is part of that, I will root for the team. I ain't gonna be rooting for him. I'm gonna be the first Knick hater of my own team of a player on my own team. It is what it is. I don't care. I don't like him. I think he doesn't really deserve to be a part of this franchise for all the stuff that he said and basically put us through, thinking that he could be a person that was going to come here. But, whatever. Right. It is what it is. I do think that as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking something and then I'm worried. As I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about Tibbs, right? And I think part of the thing that maybe held Tibbs back from being a better coach is the fact that he is a player's coach.
Right.
Which makes me worry about somebody like Johnny Bryant. Can Johnny Bryant hold the players accountable? Can he set a level of precedence so that way he could be a cool dude, but he's not buddy where he's going to allow everything to happen on the court because he doesn't want to alienate or upset his best players. Because I need the coach, whoever the coach is, I need that coach to be able to say, you guys are not moving the ball. Move the ball. I told you that already. You guys are not moving the ball. Move the ball. Okay, one more time you're not moving the ball, sit on the bench. Until you start moving the ball, you're going to be on the bench because I want you guys to realize that we got to move the ball. I need a coach like that. I need a coach that's going to say, you know what? Cat is cooking, or Cat has only seen the ball two, 3 times. Get Cat the ball. And if I don't see him or the players getting Cat the ball, I got to make a change. I need a coach that's comfortable with doing that. And I don't know if Tibbs was that way.
We're in the era now, though, man. We're in the era now, though. Like these players so soft, bro. Like you can't critique them. You can't say nothing to him. Ain't that why Mike Malone got fired allegedly?
No, I don't. I honestly don't know. I think that's why Mike Brown got fired. But I think Mike Malone and the general manager had some type of issue, some internal beef that got too much. Like, I think it was something that happened. At least what I heard was they were going at each other, and the owner had warned them multiple times to cut it out. And I think it just kept going. And the owner said, you know what? Okay, you don't want to listen. You think it's a game. I don't care if you won a championship here. Mike Malone, you're gone. Oh, you think it's sweet, GM? You're gone too. So that's what happened. I don't know.
I don't know, man. We're in the era now, though, man. Like, I think the players got too much power. I think they got too much power. A coach can just be going like it's nothing. Like, you can't say nothing to him. Like, you need to improve on defense. You need to, get something to touch the ball. And, like, a coach probably afraid to say it, outside of maybe a Rick Carlisle or Eric Spoelstra, the veteran coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Popovich when he was coaching. And another thing, before I go, man, Tom Thibodeau getting out coached by Rick Carlisle. Y'all, this is Rick Carlisle. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's JJ Redick. It's Rick Carlisle.
No, I know. It's a great coach. He's a great coach. I hear you. But you know what the thing is, at this point, Tom Thibodeau's been a coach for 13 years. He's won Coach of the Year twice. He's supposed to be a great coach too.
Right.
So
I don't know, man. I think it was a bad move by the Knicks, man.
Yeah, listen, I hope you're wrong, brother, but you definitely could be right. There's always a chance that, maybe the grass ain't greener on the other side. But I still do think that at some point something had to change. And I'm gonna say this because I think this is what gets lost. There's a lot of people in the chat, especially my guy David, he knows. Like, there's a lot of people in Cat's corner, right?
Mm-hmm.
The kitty corner is what I call it. No, I'm just joking. I just made that up, but that's funny. Tom Thibodeau's style of defense, I'm gonna say it right now because now it can be said. He cannot play his style of defense having Cat as his big man or as his power forward. He can't do it. His defense is a certain way, and it's just the way he runs his defense. Cat's got to be bigger than what he is. He's got to play bigger. He's got to be a defensive weapon in some way or fashion, and he's got to stay out of foul trouble. And since he can't do any of that, and he struggles with his sets, he struggles with his movement where he needs to be sometimes. But that's what I'm saying. The other thing is Cat, you got to understand a lot of this had to do with Indiana. Cat didn't look as bad when he was playing teams that were a little bit more one-dimensional and moved slower paced. When he played Indiana, everything was faster. He was so much more lost. That's another thing that opened it up and made him look worse. That's what made Brunson look worse. I'm not going to keep going back and forth with people who are saying, oh, Brunson is this, Brunson is that, Cat's this, Cat's that, because of what they saw from Indiana's series. That's not my issue.
Right.
I'm not going to use that one series. I look at the team has had issues running their defense all year long. Why? The Knicks defense has been a dominant type defense for how many years? Even when they're not, there was always top 20, right? But for the most part, they were top 10 to 15. And in some points, they were in the top 10, right? They've always been a good defense. Now we're looking at them, and for whatever reason, we got Mikal Bridges here. We got OG Anunoby here. Still got Josh Hart. You got Deuce on the bench. Campaign is a decent defender. Shaman is supposed to be a decent defender. You brought in DeLon Wright, and we still not one of the top defensive teams. I mean, in the league, in the regular season, in the playoffs, we were because, we changed stuff up. But, like that's an issue. It's because of the personnel. And I'm sorry, I just don't think Cat works for Thibodeau's defensive style. So now that they got rid of Tibbs, now Cat might be able to work under somebody else's style.
Oh no, man. We have to see, but I have a feeling the Knicks going to make a unnecessary trade, which is going to shake the whole roster.
Yeah.
Like people wanted the Celtics to do when after they lost to the Warriors in the finals. Oh man, remember they were like, man, they need to trade Jaylen Brown and 2-3 first-round picks and all that to get Kevin Durant. I'm like, bro, like relax.
Well, you know the other thing too, big dog. One thing we've known about Leon Rose is he was very frugal up until a certain point. He rarely made a move, and when he made a move, we didn't even see it coming, and there was a lot of thought into that move. He only recently started to get a little frisky out there, bringing in, OG when we didn't know that was going to happen, and bringing in Macau,
Right.
and then bringing in Cat. So we don't know if he's trigger happy. You know what I mean? He may not be the guy that's just going to go blow it up just to put. Because there's no reason. The Knicks are already a good team. The Knicks already sell out arenas. You don't got to worry about putting fans in the seats. He's working from a different level of comfort, so he can put a little bit more time into his movement. I would hope that the bottom line is the Knicks make a move that makes sense for the team, how we can improve, whether it be Giannis or whether it be somebody else. Just do not, in my opinion, get Kevin Durant here. Kevin Durant is an older player who's aging. He's on his way out. Not yet, but he's on his way out, and he wants a lot of money. We're talking somewhere around $75 million per year. I'm not doing it. Sorry, not doing it.
And then you got to trade a lot to get him.
No, and then once you get him, you might not even be able to flip him because he's on the tail end of his career. Nah, I'm cool.
And then he wishy-washy. He might ask you to trade him.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Within the next 2 weeks.
Nah. Yeah, you never know with that dude. I'm cool on him. Get him up out of here, yo. But we'll see what happens, big dog. I appreciate the call, man. Listen, if it was up to me, which I will probably talk about on Saturday, I instead of looking at Kevin Durant, I'm looking at Devin Booker.
Devin Booker?
Yeah, because I feel like you put Devin Booker in the backcourt with Jalen Brunson, the defense don't know what to do. You talk about getting the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands and allowing him to move around and be a shooter. Devin Booker averages around 6 assists, 7 assists a game, too, something like that. Right. He's a good facilitator. I don't mind. I mean, I'm not saying he's a great, facilitator like a pass first.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but he's good at it. He can handle the ball. You have them two dudes in the backcourt. First off, you got two clutch dudes. You got one who you can depend on in the fourth quarter. And how many big shots has Devin Booker hit? That 2-point game that he got is automatic. When you need a bucket, you pair him with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and then figure out a better way to do something off the bench. Get yourself another, scoring guard and maybe another 3-and-D 6'7", 6'8" guy to go along with them. And who knows? Like I said, the guy might already be on the team. Tibbs wasn't ready to play him, but maybe some other coach might say, hey, Kevin McCullough Jr., let's go. Paco Mdadier, let's go. We don't know.
Right.
So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll talk about it, though. I'm going to do some research.
All right, man. Salute to everybody, man.
All right, brother. Great call, man.
I'm going, man.
Take it easy, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. I think that's it for me, man. I did my little emergency podcast about this tip stuff. Let me shut these phone lines down. Okay. Yeah, man. I think we had a good talk, good conversation. I also want to just say real quick before I go, last topic was the expectations, right? Just, can they win a championship? Now that Tibbs is gone, do we think, and I just want to get you guys' opinion on it in the chat, do you think somebody else can come in and the Knicks can still be on the same track to winning a championship? I'm not saying they're going to win next year, but they definitely should be able to make a deep run in the playoffs next year, no matter what coach they bring in, because we already got some high-level personnel here. And even if we were to trade Mikal Bridges or Cat, you're bringing in somebody who can play, who's a good player in the NBA. So I think we should still be able to have the personnel, or even if we stay with the same team and just make some tweaks, we should still have enough personnel to be able to make it into the playoffs and make a deep run again. Boston, we know, is going to have a lot of issues next year unless they decide to trade, somebody over there like Jaylen Brown to go get Giannis. But even that's not going to really save Boston, right? They got some free agents and they got some people that they may not be able to afford because they already hit the second apron. Even if they were able to pull off a trade for Jaylen Brown and bring in Giannis, you're still going to go the whole season without Tatum. So it's going to be Giannis over there with the 3-point shooters, but no other help. He ain't going to have Jaylen Brown because he's gone, right? And Tatum's going to be hurt. But after that year, and you get Tatum back the following year, then you cooking. So anyway, so I don't really worry about it. I don't worry about it, put too much stock in it. It is what it is. But like I said, I think that there's different ways that this Knicks team can get better. And I think they really need to look at the different avenues. Exhaust the possibilities before making that move. Like Big Dog says, don't just go out there and make some trade just for the sake of making some trade and mess things up. You know what I mean? Joe Curry says he likes Scotty Barnes. I mean, I like Scotty Barnes too. If the Knicks can somehow figure out a way to get him, I just don't know if they'll be able to deal with Toronto again, and then get another one of their really good players over there and bring him here. Like, who do you give up? And I mean, but then again, you never say never. But if we gave them something that works for them, if we got Scotty, so would you guys be? Let me ask you guys that question. Would you guys be happier if the Knicks had Scotty Barnes or Mikal Bridges? Because that's an interesting thought. I'm gonna do some research. So for Saturday's show, I'll take a look at that, Joe Curry. I'll take a look at Barnes. I'll take a look at Bridges and see how they compare and how that might work, how Barnes plays, and if he can fit the role of what would help the Knicks. And, I'm not saying it could happen, but I'm curious. Now you got me curious. Yeah. All right. Well, guys and gals, thank you guys for tuning in. Great show. Once again, I appreciate you. Jay says, yeah, you serious? Hell yes. Oh man. Listen, guys, all I say is when you look at these moves, just understand we got to try to put ourselves in the GM mode and really figure out how it's going to work and how it fits with the team. Because Scotty Barnes is a big piece over there in Toronto because they don't got a lot going on. It's Barnes and Nobles. No, it's Barnes, Quickly, and RJ, right? So Barnes gets a lot of touches. Barnes comes to the Knicks. It's Brunson. It's Cat. OG's stepping up. And then OG played with Barnes. OG was there. He won a championship. OG's going to be big brother in Barnes, So, Barnes's production may not be as good because he don't get enough touches, so he don't get enough usage. So he's not as fluid and cooking as we see him in Toronto. Toronto, he's in the mix. I'm just throwing it out there, but I do like his height. I think he rebounds pretty well for his size. His defense is great. He's got some intensity to him. Man, I don't know. Barnes is interesting. I would not put it past him. But I would go get, if I was going to move and get Barnes in here, it would be to try to figure out a way to maximize the Mikal money. Like, can I get Barnes for less money and then get somebody else from Toronto that could fit what we need, like another 3-point shooter that they got over there? Maybe. Then I'm thinking. Then you got my wheels turning. Like I said, I'll take a look at this stuff before Saturday's show. We'll see. Appreciate that, Joe Curry. Thanks for the suggestion. Oh, wait. Well, no. I ain't doing that, though. I'm not. Calm down, Joe Curry. I ain't trading Cat for IQ and Barnes, though. I ain't. Nah. I ain't doing that. I don't know about that one. I gotta. No. If I trade Cat, it's for a star player, like who's upper echelon, like got his package together, like the can't miss package, like a Booker or Giannis Like those guys who they can score and get it going no matter where you put them. I need a guy like that. I ain't trading Cat just for anything. Like you spent something to get Cat, and it was important to you, And Cat is a good player. He just you want to upgrade from Cat. You don't want to go worse or downgrade. You want to upgrade. And I'm not saying Booker's an upgrade. He's just different. But Giannis is an upgrade because of everything he can do out there. His rebounding, which would help this Knicks team that Cat rebounds too. I don't know. You know what I mean? But the defense is really it. I'm just saying, but Giannis is also a very good rebounder, but the defense is good and he scores points. Even if it's unconventional and I don't love the fact he can't shoot, he scores. He scores. All right. Let me get out of here because y'all can have me talking forever with these suggestions, man. Thank you once again to everybody who called in. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate the conversation. We're going to have a lot more to get into when we get to Saturday's show. And I appreciate, all the support that you guys always continue to show the channel. The subscribership is continuing to grow. And thank you guys. Please continue to tell your friends about Still Knicks Fans and all our programming. And stay tuned. We're going to be here rocking, man. No matter what happens, guys, no matter what moves the Knicks make, I already said it. Even if they brought in Durant, I'm still a Knicks fan. I won't be a happy Knicks fan, but I'll still be a Knicks fan through it all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all be good. Have a great rest of your night. And, if you can't be good at it. I'll catch y'all, man. It's been real. Let's go Knicks. Latest.